In this video, we're gonna go over the best player from each season of Fortnite's history. Being the best player in any game is a tall task, but in Fortnite, not only does it mean bragging rights, it means financial gain setting you up for life. And before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe. It took me a while to get this out for you guys. When it comes to Season 0, before Fortnite even had seasons, I think the best player is very clear. The best player in Season 0 is Mr. Grims. Mr. Grims is an ex-pro in Killer Instinct and H1Z1. The reason I think Mr. Grims is the best player of Season 0 is not only because he's the first player to ever get 20 kills in a Fortnite game, it's because he's the first player to use the building mechanic. In early Fortnite, when everyone else was just running around shooting like it was H1Z1 or PUBG, Mr. Grims figured out that the building mechanic was there for a reason. While his builds weren't anything insane, it was pretty crazy for the time. Something so simple as building walls to protect yourself from getting shot was game breaking at the time. Now we're off to Season 1, and I think the best player this season was Ninja. Ninja was an ex-H1Z1 and Halo pro, meaning that he had insane aim that you need in Fortnite when nobody was building. He was also the most consistent player on a day-to-day basis. No matter what time you tune into his 15-hour stream, he's always going to be the same as when he just got on. Not only do I mean he's energetic and very entertaining, he's also a very good player and has consistency like no other. While other best pros at the time like Hamlin's and High Distortion were going through loss streaks, Ninja just seems like he couldn't stop winning. That's why I think he's the best player of Season 1. Now in Season 2, the best players, all that you'll see them doing is building ramps to rush people, but there's this one player named Myth, which I think is the best player of Season 2. He took building to a whole nother level. He's the first person in Fortnite to utilize boxing up, and he's also the first person that invented build fighting. He used the building mechanic aggressively and defensively, which was insane at the time. Without Myth, the game wouldn't be where it is today. And I think Summit 1G sums it up pretty well right here.
What the fuck? He keeps building higher. Stop building so fucking high! Stop it! Is this guy a fuck? What? What's happening? What just happened? He kept building up and building up and building up, and I couldn't catch him. I've never seen that strategy used. You could tell he's a good player. I've never seen that strategy used where when someone's trying to get into your base, you just keep building up, keep building up, keep building up.
Now in Season 3, I think the best player once again is Ninja. Once everybody saw what Myth was doing, everyone decided to box up and play for the win in towers, but not Ninja. Ninja would W key everybody he saw and somehow not lose a fight. In Season 4, I think the best player is Hamlin's. He was easily the best builder at the time and one of the best double pumpers in the game. He always seemed to be ahead of the meta. He even invented coning people, which most people at the time had it unbound. Not only was he the best player in pubs, he was the best player in solo snipes. Solo snipes is where all the pros would get into one game, basically scrims before we had custom matchmaking. And he would win every single solo snipe against players like FaZe Jomok, Myth, Cloaksy, and others. In Season 5, I think the best player is Bizzle. Bizzle placed second in 5 of the summer skirmish weeks. He also placed second at PAX West, earning himself $180,000. He came first in Secret Skirmish, earning himself $60,000. Fourth in Katowice solos and Katowice duos. He was the most earned player at the time. He was the most consistent at the first 3 lands in Fortnite's history. He was also the first player to use a strategy in Fortnite. He wouldn't just run around and go to zone, he would think of the rotate that has the least amount of people and he would do it. Strategies like that paved the way for IGLs like Zayt and Queasy that created Deadside. In Season 6, I think the best player is Tfue. Tfue was the first person to outskill Ninja in Season 2 when Ninja looked like he was years above everybody else. He created hundreds of exploits that gave him an advantage in every fight. Just to list a few, he created ghost peeking, fast farming, he was the first one to popularize buddy hopping, he did the rocket exploit, shooting through builds, jumping through walls, no fall damage, fast healing, double grenade launcher, safe tarping, and breaking all of Tilted Towers in one wall. He came first in 3 weeks of Fall Skirmish and came first in TwitchCon with Cloaksy, earning himself $500,000. Tfue was the most consistent in every game mode, whether it was online or on LAN. Now for Season 7, I think the best player this season is Mr. Savage. Mr. Savage was 14 at the time, so he couldn't play events for money, he can only play qualifiers. Even with that disadvantage, he came second in Winter Royale qualifiers. He was the most consistent in EU pop-up cups. He set a record for the most points in a solo pop-up cup on the hardest region. 2 months later, Fortnite changed the age restriction from 16 to 13, meaning that he could make money. And since then, he's made over $520,000. His success came from his fast mechanics and his ability to outplay people. And that skill of being able to outplay people and use his 200 IQ is what made him the best in Season 7. The best player of Season 8, I think, is Clix. Nobody knew who he was even though he was signed to Misfits. When World Cup qualifiers came around, he put his name on the map by qualifying for the World Cup 5 times, 3 times in solos and 2 times in duos. He was the first to popularize wall taking and box fighting. People thought he was macroing because how good he was at taking everybody's wall. Box fighting was still an unknown skill at the time, so Clix used it to kill everybody that he fought. I think the best player of Season 9 is Booga. He won the first week of solo World Cup qualifiers and everybody thought it was a fluke. Nobody thought he was going to win, but he ended up winning World Cup solos, winning $3 million. And in World Cup, it wasn't just a fluke, he almost doubled second place's points. And after winning World Cup, he is the most earned Fortnite player of all time. In Season X, I think the best player is Mongrel. Not only did he win 3 of the 5 weeks in Season X FNCS, the 2 weeks that he didn't win, he came second. He won 2 Trio Cash Cups in a row. He came third in an NA East Solo Cash Cup. He came first in his heat, so he qualified to Grand Finals. But in Grand Finals, he got landed on and came 10th. But in my opinion, I think he would have easily won Grands that season. In Season X alone, he made over $150,000. After Season X, we went to a new chapter. So in Chapter 2 Season 1, I think the best player is Unknown Army. He broke aim assist so bad that people thought he was cheating. He's the best controller player of all time. He won 3 solo cash cups that season and 1 squad FNCS and made over $187,000. During squad FNCS, he was easily the best player in the lobby, so his 3 other teammates were just sitting there bandage cannoning him while he was 1v4ing. Chapter 2 Season 1 was the longest season ever, so after 128 days, people were ready for Chapter 2 Season 2. And in Chapter 2 Season 2, we had 2 FNCSs, 1 solos and 1 duos. And I think the best player of Chapter 2 Season 2 is Aqua. He came first in the 2nd and 4th week of duo FNCS qualifiers. He came second in his heat, qualifying to Grand Finals. And in Grand Finals, he ended up placing 4th. And in that same season, he came 3rd in solo FNCS. Now in Chapter 2 Season 3, I think the best player is Tayson. Tayson came 3rd in solo FNCS week 3. He came 2nd in the Aqua and Nyrox Throwback Cup. He came 1st in his heat to qualify to FNCS Grand Finals. And then he came 1st in solo FNCS Grand Finals, making $80,000. Now we're in Chapter 2 Season 4, and I think the best player this season is Reet. Reet popularized Peace Control, and he was playing every Cash Cup on every region and still placing good on 200 ping. He was killing the best players from every region with ease. Now on to Chapter 2 Season 5, I think the best player is Bucky. Out of all tournaments Bucky got top 100 in this season, his average placement was 7th. Bucky got 2nd in the first Trio Cash Cup that season, 1st in the 5th Trio Cash Cup that season, and 4th in the Cypher PK Cup. He got 4th in his heat, qualifying to Grands, and 3rd in FNCS Grand Finals with Kanata and Macwood. In Chapter 2 Season 6, I think the best player is 4ZR. This is one of the craziest single season performances I've ever seen. He got 2nd in the Gamers Assembly Tournament, he got 2nd in the first Solo Cash Cup of the season, he won the first Trio Cash Cup of the season and the DreamHack Extra that went along with it. He came 10th in the NA East Trio Cash Cup, 1st in the last Cash Cup before Grands, 2nd in the last Trio Cash Cup of the season, and came top 10 in 5 other Trio Cash Cups. He came 1st in DreamHack April, he came 1st in his heat qualifying to Grands, and came 3rd this season with Nate and Tayson. This season, 4ZR earned over $60,000. Chapter 2 Season 7 had 2 FNCSs again, trios and solos, and the best player this season, I think it's Scented. In Cash Cup, Scented placed 4th, 8th, 6th, 5th, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 3rd, 1st, and 3rd. In solo FNCS All-Stars, he got 31st, and in trio FNCS, he got his 4th consecutive 2nd place in Grand Finals with Edgy and Commandment. Chapter 2 Season 8 was another season with 2 FNCSs, with trio FNCS and trios Grand Royale. And the best players of Chapter 2 Season 8 is Cammy, Seti, and Teak. With every tournament in Chapter 2 Season 8 being trios, all of their placements were the same, so I had to put them up here together. They came 1st in their heat qualifying to Grand Finals, they came 1st in trio Grand Finals, and they came 2nd in Grand Royale. Altogether, they took home $750,000 this season. After Chapter 2 Season 8, we went to a new chapter, so now we're in Chapter 3. And in Chapter 3 Season 1, I think the best player is Miro. In my other video about who's the GOAT of Fortnite, I said Miro is the GOAT, and even though he was a 4 times FNCS champion going into this, I think this is where his reign of terror really took off. In Cash Cups this season, Miro placed 5th, 1st, 6th, 5th, 3rd, 1st, 6th, 8th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 6th, 4th. In Chapter 3 Season 1 Cash Cups, Miro had an average placement of 4th. And to top it all off, he won Duo FNCS Grand Finals with Bugha to finish the three-peat of winning Chapter 2 Season 8 Grand Finals, Grand Royale, and Chapter 3 Season 1. In Chapter 3 Season 2, I think the best player is Vino. Vino went on to have 8 top 10s in Cash Cups that season, winning 3 of them. He also won Grand Finals with Aqua. In Chapter 3 Season 3, I think the best player is Malibuca. Malibuca was easily the best player in Chapter 3 Season 3. He placed first in Gamers 8 with Epic Whale. In Cash Cups, he placed 5th, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 3rd, and 4th. And he came 2nd in FNCS Grand Finals with Mersash. This season, he made over $350,000. In Chapter 3 Season 4, I think the best player is Cold. Chapter 3 Season 4 was the season of the 2022 FNCS Invitational. Scented and Cold came 3rd at Invitational. Even though they didn't win, Cold was easily the MVP of the tournament. He was clutching 1v2s that shouldn't even be possible against the best players in the world. And not to mention, they came 3rd, landing at a pretty bad spot. And out of the 5 Cash Cups that season, Cold came top 6 3 times, making over $120,000 that season. After Chapter 3 Season 4, we went to a new chapter, so now we're in Chapter 4 Season 1, and I think the best player is Thomas HD. Thomas HD is easily one of the best aimers of all time, and in this season with the Thunder Shotgun and the Red Eye AR, it was clear that he was the best. In Cash Cups this season, he placed 1st, 9th, 3rd, 1st, 1st, and 4th. And he came 2nd in FNCS Grand Finals with Malibuca. They took home over $75,000. Now in Chapter 4 Season 2, I think the best players are Vino and Queasy. They both could have been on this list for many other seasons, but this season they were both a different breed. They had the best Grand Finals performance of all time, but before we get there, let's look at their Cash Cup placements. In Cash Cups this season, they came first 3 times and placed 7th. They also came 13th in DreamHack San Diego 2023. In FNCS Weekly Finals, they came 3rd, 1st, and 7th. And what I think makes them the best players this season and maybe of all time in this form is not only did they placed first place in FNCS Grand Finals, they won 6 out of the 12 games, in the best lobby on EU with the best players in the world. This performance will probably never be replicated and will go down in history as the best Grand Finals performance of all time. Now in Chapter 4 Season 3, I think the best player of this season is Kanata. This season, Kanata went on to win FNCS with Agers while streaming all of it. And he also went on to have one of the most heated rivalries with Iamzo and Rise. Every week, people would tune into Cash Cup Finals to see who would win this week. It was always a 2-horse race between Kanata and Agers or Iamzo and Rise. But now we're in Chapter 4 Season 4, and I think the best player this season is Cooper. Cooper was very unknown going into the season unless you were a hardcore Fortnite competitive fan. And this season, he went on to place top 10 in 6 out of the 9 Cash Cups, winning 2 of them. This season also went on to have the FNCS Global Championship, which he went on to win with Miro, and in this season, he made over $1 million. Now for the last season of this video, we're in Season OG, and I think the best player this season was Mr. Savage. In this short season, Mr. Savage won Jacob's OG skirmish and came 5th and 12th in other skirmishes. He also won $300 in solo victory cups that season, placing 1st in the qualifiers of 1. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It took me a very long time to make this, so if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe.